Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Shakespeare and Company. A woman hides in the undergrowth, spying on her husband and young son. She dreams of a knife in her hand, of bleeding herself dry, remembers and regrets the sex that produced the child, muses upon how she is a nutcase, a foreigner, someone beyond repair. So begins Die My Love by Ariana Harwicz. And if you think that a book which begins so intensely can only fizzle out, well, think again. Indeed, at 120 pages, readers might find themselves blessing the slightness of Die My Love. So brutal, so destabilising, so all-consuming is this tale of a woman driven to distraction by the banality of motherhood, sex and relationships in the French countryside. Cover copy can often be hyperbolic, but when the text on the back of Die My Love asserts that it's impossible to come out unscathed from reading Ariana Harwicz, it's tempting to accuse the publisher of understatement. Ariana has been called one of the most radical figures in contemporary Argentinian literature, and her work has been compared to Nathalie Seurat and Virginia Woolf. Die My Love is the opening book of a trilogy of novels and the first of Ariana's books to be translated into English. It was named the best novel of 2012 by the Argentinian daily La Nation and has been adapted for the stage in Israel and Argentina. Ariana lives in France and is writing a new novel entitled Racista. We're also delighted to be joined tonight by Ariana's publisher and translator, Carolina Orloff, a specialist in Latin American literature and an experienced translator, working both in English and in Spanish. In 2016, she co-founded Chaco Press, where she acts as the main editor. Choosing his favourite books of 2017, Hari Kanzru wrote, "In English language fiction, we are used to female narrators who occupy one of several familiar niches. Blandly likeable, flawed, preferably by something simple like alcohol, or pathological, murderers or abusers who are profiled with just enough sympathy to make us feel humane as we judge them. Harwicz takes us somewhere more profound and forces us to confront the thought that these easy fictional explanations are specious. Lurking inside all of us is the potential for horror." Please join me in welcoming Ariana and Carolina to Shakespeare and Company. So, I think where we're going to begin tonight is talking a little bit first with Carolina about the press that she's founded, and also how she discovered and worked with Ariana. So, Carolina, would you just introduce us a little bit to Chaco Press and tell us?
Do I speak on to?
Yeah.
Well, thanks everybody who's made it here. We're very, very, very thrilled and grateful to Adam and everybody at Shakespeare & Co. to be here. Is everybody okay with English, or my English anyway? Yes, okay, good. Charco Press was launched a year ago, just last year, really, and we're based in Edinburgh, so in Scotland, not England, and our idea was to try and do something different in terms of bringing Latin American voices to not just to the UK reader, but to the English-speaking reader in general. We felt that the English-speaking reader has been deprived of all the new voices that are coming out from Latin America, which have been many and very diverse and very good in the last, at least 2 or 3, 4 decades. In my experience, when you talk to people in the UK in general, and I'm not so sure how it is in the US, but in the UK, people say, "Oh, we love Latin American writers," and when you ask them who, it's always Garcia Marquez and Vargas Llosa, maybe Bolaño, and we just felt that it was about time to shake the things a bit and say, well, there's a lot more that's been happening recently.
And why do you think Latin American literature, contemporary literature, wasn't being translated? Was that a problem with the literature scene in the UK, do you think?
Well, translated fiction, as it's categorized, it's still seen as a kind of a niche literature, which is one of the things we want to change. We're very ambitious. Again, it depends how you live the world. Coming from Argentina, we just go to a bookshop and you don't have a category that is translated fiction. You just maybe have universal fiction, literatura universal, and so this concept of translated fiction is a certain kind of fiction. To us is fallacious. It's not real. there's very little translated fiction in general, contemporary, because of that reason. I think there's like a block in the reader. So we want to try and change that a bit. And that's why, in a way, we started with these 5 books, which look very, very lovely. And they're all Argentinian contemporary authors. And our idea was to bring authors from one country just, from the same generation, to show how varied contemporary authors can be, not just because they're from one country and the same generation, they write the same literature, which is a misnomer.
And how did you start to build your list? How did you decide on, for example, these 5 writers from what sounds like quite a thriving scene?
Yes, well, we're interested in bringing into English what's being read and talked about right now. In the different countries, it's difficult, it's challenging. So we knew that these have been writers that have been on readers' minds in Argentina and in Latin America and in Spain for the last 5 years or so, and Ariana in particular. Had been on my radar for quite a while as a reader, and then when Charco Press started becoming real, she was immediately someone that I wanted to publish because what she does is so unique and at the same time, I think, universal. The themes she tackles, as you'll see or you've seen already, are very universal, but handled from a very peculiar voice. So she was definitely someone I wanted to have in our initial catalogue.
Yeah. And also, of course, you translated or co-translated Die My
Yes.
Love. As if you weren't busy enough already.
Yes.
And why did you decide to take on this text as well? Because I see you've worked with, of the other books you didn't translate any of them.
I haven't co-translated, no.
Is it kind of a labour of love, this one for you?
Well, I think we're going to talk a bit more later on, because Ariana is very interested and very involved in the translation process itself. But it wasn't the idea originally. And we'll tell you why later, I think.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll leave a little ellipses there.
Yes, suspense.
Well, should we, in that case, Ariana, you'd like to present the book to us?
Sorry. Hello.
With your microphone.
But I can't. Well, good evening. Before we start, I would like to clarify, but I'm sure you can tell already that I don't speak English. I don't speak English very well. Ça marche? No.
Ouais.
I don't speak English tout court. No. I promise Shakespeare & Co. that I will improve for next year when we come to present my second novel with Charco.
With great pleasure.
Sorry. I want to say that it's very moving for me, for us, to be here in this legendary bookshop. In this event, the prophecy of Die My Love, of always being foreign, like a protagonist, becomes fulfilled. This is for me a good fate, a good literary fate. I've been living in France for 10 years. I wrote this novel in Spanish, but the phrasing, the punctuation, the accent, and a echo on French music. I am presenting within the metric of English language, overlooking the Seine here at Shakespeare & Co. I think that paradoxically, Die My Love find in English a new form, a new expression, inbred by me, but which is faithful to its original score.
Perfect.
Yeah, there is there's definitely something about the language of the translation. Actually, I mean, I don't read Spanish, but the English rendering is incredibly vivid. Was it difficult for you, Carolina, to capture that?
No, porque
no, me pregunta del lenguaje y todo. We'll come back to Ariana's plan, but no, we'll come back to that for sure. But one of the things that we keep talking about now was that when we first commissioned the translation of Die My Love, it's a big journey, and I can talk to people if they're really interested, because I'm sure it's quite boring for a lot of people, but you could make a movie just on the translation process of Die My Love. Suffice to say that there was one truncated, can you say? Truncated translation that we had to abandon halfway through, which was very expensive for a new publishing house. Yeah. And on the second translation, which was started by Sarah Moses, we were always working very closely with Ariana. She's a very, these things vary with each novelist, each writer. They can choose to be involved or not. And Ariana is someone that's very interested in participating in the translation process, even though she doesn't speak English that well, which I think it's fascinating because it's not about that. Sure. It's about the musicality, the rhythm, the several dimensions of meaning that happen before you choose the word in English or in French or in Italian.
Of course.
So we can tell you many anecdotes later on, but I felt I had to step in with the translation. I've lived between Spanish or Argentinian and English for the last 20 years, and I felt I had to step in because there were things like the humor and the irony, the sarcasm that the translator wasn't just understanding from the original, which I think it's fascinating and it's very important. And then I'll stop talking because she's the star, I think. But I think it's fascinating that we happen to be of the same generation. We both left Argentina at a certain time, and we speak a language that is a bit obsolete. The colloquialisms, the slang. Sure. We understand each other, but when we go back home, it's like, where do you come from? I've had that question. So I think that was fundamental to capture all the different meanings of the original and translate it into the English. Yes. Okay. I'm happy it reads well. Yes.
Oh yeah, no, it reads incredibly well. Ariana, you were going to tell us a little more about the was it the origins?
Je vais m'humilier en public. Non, je vais lire en anglais encore. Je sais pas si vous comprenez mon français, s'il faut traduire ou pas. Enfin, tout le monde parle français ici, je sais pas. Enfin,
plus ou moins.
Les gens ils répondent pas. Et non, mais c'est intéressant pour moi parce que le personnage de Matate Amor, de Lifetime I Love, pardon, et c'est une étrangère. Je vais lire en anglais maintenant. Et l'expérience de l'écriture pour moi, c'est une expérience ontologiquement d'étrangeté. De quelqu'un qui n'appartient pas au paysage, mais en plus, j'habite ici depuis 10 ans, et présenter mon livre pour la première fois en anglais, c'est doublement l'expérience de l'extranjero, non?
Ouais.
Enfin bon. Die My Love, excusez-moi, hein? Die My Love is born from a need, from a woman lying down in the tall grass, surrounded by dead tree trunks. That feeling, that open image of Die My Love was the initial kick, the spark, the trigger, like a first bullet that inspired me to write all the poetry, the prose, the vertigo of Die My Love. That in turn was the motivation for the metric, the punctuation, the tone, and the music of the novel. Die My Love is born from a need of a desperate woman who is misunderstood, literally because she's a foreign. She's not a local, and emotionally, spiritually, and sexually, because neither her husband nor her lover give her what she wants, nor does her son, because motherhood is not enough for her either. The novel is riddled with flashbacks and flash forwards, with discontinuities. On one hand, this is like to my own background in script writing, but it also has to do with the limbo that for me means living in the small village in the middle of the French countryside. Above all, it relates to the altered state of mind caused by desire, depression, and motherhood. The protagonist is imbibed in this cocktail that disturbed her sense of time, of the passing of time. When I wrote Die My Love, I didn't say myself to write about something in particular. Rather, a series of furious images just rain on me. It's there that I think like the theatrical or cinematographic dimension of the novel too. The image came to me one after the other, and I just brought them down. The protagonist of Die My Love takes on a very masculine role. She is a male counterpart in the couple, while her husband is more feminine. I found that there is something very disturbing in this change of roles, like for instance when he puts lipstick one or when she said that she would like to sodomize him. I think this relates to the vision of desiring die my love, to the sense that when a woman wants someone or something with such intensity, the desire becomes masculine. The decision to write using Argentinian slang was a risky one, but I went for it all the same. The protagonist is a foreign woman, but we are not quite sure where she comes from. The language she uses is Argentinian, but in the novel, Argentina is not necessarily a real country. Die My Love is language crossbreed and hence an enormous challenge for the translators. Die My Love is also a theater disguised as a novel. There is nothing harder than writing. In order to write, you need to read, and you need to read properly. To write, you need courage, boldness, sensitivity. You need to live life in an artistic way, creating, inventing yourself, building a life that is up there with the art you believe in. But of course, there are not guarantees. I think one writes in order not to despise oneself. You write not to find yourself disgusting. Sorry.
Muy bien. Perfecto. Sí, ahora leemos.
That seems like a wonderful summary of the book, and I wonder if now might be a good moment to hear an extract. And I think Carolina is going to read for us.
I shall do my best. Yes. So this is the very opening lines and chapter, if you bear with me, of the novel. And it goes like this. You don't want to read in Spanish first?
That would be nice. Yeah. No, that would be great. Yeah, read us.
¿Alguien habla español?
Sí. Hasta creo better to hear the Spanish first and then English.
Me recliné sobre la hierba entre árboles caídos y el sol que calienta la palma de mi mano me dio la impresión de llevar un cuchillo con el que iba a desangrarme de un corte ágil en la yugular. Detrás, en el decorado de una casa entre decadente y familiar, podía sentir las voces de mi hijo y mi marido, los dos en cueros, los dos chapoteando en la pileta de plástico azul con el agua a 35 grados. Era un domingo, víspera de día feriado. Estaba a pocos pasos de ellos, oculta entre malezas. Los espiaba. ¿Cómo es que yo, una mujer débil y enfermiza que sueña con un cuchillo en la mano, era la madre y la esposa de esos dos individuos? ¿Qué iba a hacer? Escondí el cuerpo adentrándome en la tierra. No iba a matarlos. Dejé caer el cuchillo. Fui a colgar la ropa como si nada. Abroché bien las medias de mi bebé y mi hombre, los calzoncillos y las camisas. Me miré como una campechana ignorante que cuelga la ropa y se seca las manos en la falda cuadrillé antes de entrar en la cocina. No se dieron cuenta, la colgada de ropa fue un éxito. Volví a recostarme entre troncos. Ya se corta la madera para la próxima temporada. Los hombres acá preparan el invierno como las bestias. Nada nos distingue a unos de otros. Yo misma, letrada y graduada universitaria, soy más bestia que esos zorros desahuciados con la cara tenida de rojo y un palo atravesándoles la boca de par en par. A pocos kilómetros, mi vecino Frank, el primero de 7 hermanos, se pegó un tiro de escopeta en el culo la última Navidad. Linda sorpresita para su tribu de hijos. El tipo siguió la tradición. Suicidio con escopeta para el tatarabuelo, bisabuelo, abuelo y padre. Lo menos que se podía decir es que era su turno. Y yo, una mujer normal, de una familia normal, pero una excéntrica, desviada, madre de un hijo y con otro, quién sabe hasta altura en camino. Me metí despacito la mano en la bombacha y pensar que yo soy la encargada de velar por la educación de mi hijo. To be continued, ¿no?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I won't have the stamina of Ariana, but I'll do my best. I lay back in the grass among falling trees, and the sand on my palm felt like a knife I could use to bleed myself dry with one swift cut to the jugular. Behind me, against the backdrop of a house somewhere between dilapidated and homely, I could hear the voices of my son and my husband. Both of them naked, both of them splashing around in the pool, in the blue paddling pool, the water 35 degrees. It was the Sunday before a bank holiday. I was a few steps away, hidden in the underbrush, spying on them. How could a weak, perverse woman like me, someone who dreams of a knife in her hand, be the mother and wife of those two individuals? What was I going to do? I burrowed deeper in the ground, hiding my body. I wasn't going to kill them. I dropped the knife and went to hang out the washing like nothing had happened. I carefully pegged the socks to the line, my baby's and my man's, their underwear and shirts. I looked at myself and saw an ignorant country bumpkin hanging out the laundry and drying her hands on her skirt before returning to the kitchen. They had no idea. Hanging out the clothes had been a success. I lay back down among the tree trunks. They're already chopping wood for the cold season. People here prepare winter like animals. Nothing distinguishes us from them. Take me, an educated woman, a university graduate. I'm more of an animal than those half-dead foxes, their faces stained red, sticks propping their mouths wide open. My neighbor Frank, a few miles away, the oldest of 7 siblings, fired a shotgun into his own arse last Christmas. What a nice surprise it must have been for his pack of kids. But the guy was just following tradition, suicide by shotgun for his great-grandfather, great-grandfather, grandfather and father. At the very least, you could say it was his turn. And me? A normal woman from a normal family, but an eccentric, a deviant, the mother of one child and with another, though who knows at this point, on its way. I slowly slide a hand into my knickers, and to think I'm the person in charge of my son's education. My husband calls me over for a beer under the pergola and asks, blonde or dark? The baby appears to have shut himself, and I've got to go and buy his cake. I bet other mothers would bake one themselves. 6 months apparently is not the same as 5 or 7. Whenever I look at him, I think of my husband behind me, about to ejaculate on my back, but instead turning me over suddenly and coming inside me. If this hadn't happened, if I'd closed my legs, if I grabbed his dick, I wouldn't have to go to the bakery for cream cake or chocolate cake and candles half a year already. The moment other women give birth, they usually say, I can't imagine my life without him now. It's as though he's always been here. Poof. I'm coming, baby. I want to scream, but I sink deeper into the cracked earth. I want to snarl, to howl, but instead I let the mosquitoes bite me, let them savor my sweetened skin. The sun deflects the silvery reflection of the knife back to me, and I'm blinded. The sky is red, violet, trembling. I hear them looking for me, the filthy baby and the naked husband. Mama, dada, poo-poo. My baby's the one who does the talking all night long. Coco, nana, baba. There they are. I leave the knife in the scorched pasture, hoping that when I find it next, it'll look like a scalpel, a feather, a pin. I get up, hot and bothered by the tingling between my legs. Blonde or dark, whatever you're having, my love. We're one of those couples who mechanize the word love, who use it even when they despise each other. I never want to see you again, my love. I'm coming, I say. I'm a fraud of a country woman with a red polka dot skirt and split ends. I'll have a blonde beer, I say in my foreign accent. I'm a woman who's let herself go, has a mouth full of cavities and no longer reads. Read, you idiot, I tell myself. Read one full sentence from start to finish. Here we are, all 3 of us, together for a family portrait. We toast the happiness of our baby and drink the beers. My son in his high chair, chewing on a leaf. I put a finger in his mouth and he shrieks, biting me with his gums. My husband wants to plant a tree for the baby's long life, and I don't know what to say. I just smile like a fool. Does he have any idea? So many healthy and beautiful women in the area, and he ended up falling for me. A nutcase, a foreigner, someone beyond repair. Muggy out today, isn't it? Seems it'll last a while, he says. I take long swigs from the bottle, breathing through my nose and wishing, quite simply, that I were dead.
Wow, thank you. And that was such a, as an opening, it's such a representative chapter as well, I think, of many of the elements that we find in Die My Love. You have the humor, I think. You have the a certain violence, a certain brutality. You have the presentation of quite taboo reactions, particularly, I think, concerning motherhood, for example. Maybe we begin by talking about that conception of motherhood. Do you think people who read Die My Love will be surprised, will be shocked by the protagonist's reactions to motherhood?
Peut-être que j'ai rien compris, je vais répondre ce que je veux. Okay. Non, je vais traduire. Oui. Non, je pense que l'écriture, c'est l'acte de transgression par excellence. C'est-à-dire écrire, je dis rien de nouveau, écrire, c'est l'acte de transgression, de révolution, de mettre en risque tout. au-delà des sujets, del tópico, de la thématique, etc. Je n'étais pas consciente quand j'ai écrit Die My Love, que je bouleversais le tabou de la maternité ou que j'allais contre une idée prototype, une idée classique de maternité. Ah, il ne faut pas traduire.
To translate into English?
If that's okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
In that case, maybe.
En italien, c'est pas la peine. Ah oui, c'est
Dans ce
vrai,
cas-là,
on parle
tu vas
français.
parler en espagnol.
Ah, je vais parler en espagnol, c'est mieux en plus. No, digo que el acto de transgresión es el acto de escribir, más allá de los tópicos.
Sorry, I was in a sound.
Ah, c'est mieux, sinon je puedes seguir en hébreu.
Comme tu veux.
Es eso, el acto.
Sí. So sorry, Ariana saying that the actor translation is the kind of no, tenés que decir otra vez porque no te
El acto de
entendía.
transgresión es el acto de escribir, no más allá de los tópicos.
De traducción
que no,
o de escritura.
Transgredir es escribir, más
Sí.
allá del tópico, ¿no?
The act of writing is transgressing in itself.
Y après, yo no era consciente de lo que estaba haciendo porque yo no era escritora, no digo que lo sea ahora, pero sobre todo en la primera novela no era escritora, entonces ni siquiera estaba consciente de estar haciendo una novela, ¿no?
So coming back to Adam's questions about motherhood, it wasn't that Ariana set out to write this novel and she was going to insert motherhood as a taboo, that she wasn't aware that this was going to become a novel or that you were a writer, que no era consciente de que eras escritora.
No, en absoluto. Y no, siempre dicen que no hay mejor escritura que la que no es consciente de estar escribiendo una novela. Es decir,
So they say that there's no better writing than the one that is unconsciously happening, that you're not aware of.
Y después la pregunta que se pregunta todo el arte contemporáneo hace muchos años es ¿qué es transgredir? ¿Con qué se puede transgredir? Porque obviamente con el incesto no, con la pornografía no, con la blasfemia no, es decir, ¿qué es un acto de transgresión?
So Ariana saying that what's at the core of a lot of contemporary writers is what does it mean to go beyond, to transgress? Do we go through porn? Ya me olvidé lo que habías dicho.
El incesto, la blasfemia, cortarse la
blasphemy,
cabeza.
Yes.
Entonces, como la transgresión no está puesta en el tópico o en la temática, creo que sigue pudiendo estar como una utopía, lo digo, en la forma, ¿no?
So for her, beyond topic, the transgression is in the form of the prose.
En todo caso, los autores o los artistas que admiro son bueno, obviamente Joyce, pero también los pianistas que la temática, el tema que trabajan es la forma, es la lengua, ¿no?
So among the artists that she admires, apart from Joyce, of course, it's the musicians, pianists in particular, because they're transgressing the form itself of the music.
Me gusta el pianista Glenn Gould, que es muy joyciano, o Joyce es muy Glengooliano.
Well, she likes Joyce because there's a lot of Glenn Gould in him, and the other way around, there's a lot of Joyce in Glenn Gould.
Y después, bueno, sí,
Y lo de la maternidad.
La maternidad me sorprendió después ver las reacciones de los lectores y lectoras, no solamente mujeres, pero verdad más mujeres, que veían como una especie de soulagement, de alivio en ver que la maternidad puede ser considerada o concebida de un modo como el detrás del decorado de la maternidad, ¿no?
So she was surprised to see the response of readers, especially female readers, when they appreciated or they were thankful that Ariana was showing the behind the scenes of being a mother, of motherhood.
Claro, muchos decían que la novela estaba construida como un estado de terror, la maternidad como ciencia ficción, la maternidad como y para mí es realismo lo que dicen.
So a lot of critics or readers were saying that this is motherhood represented as horror or as
fantástico.
It's fantastic, but for her it was it's realistic. It's a realistic representation of motherhood.
Claro, y para mí estaba haciendo un fresco hiperrealista, ¿no?
So for her, she was drawing a hyper-realist fresco.
And there are several moments in the book where the protagonist insists that she is a normal woman. She said, I'm normal, I'm ordinary.
Que la protagonista enfatiza eso, que es normal.
Sí, en el doble sentido, la obra fue escrita en el French countryside, en el fondo de, bueno, en la campiña francesa, en la Francia profunda, eso a nivel biográfico, y el protagonista en paralelo también pertenece a un micropueblo, y ahí la moral no me parece que pertenezca a este siglo, ¿no?
So Ariana, biographically, she lived in the deep French, you can say that, deep French countryside, and the protagonist is embedded in that too, where moral values do not belong to a contemporary kind of
Por eso ella invoca
century.
la infidelidad o los advenimientos, los problemas del divorcio, como si correspondiera a otro siglo, ¿no? Como si la moral no se ajustara a la modernidad, ¿no?
So that's why the protagonist talks about adultery or divorce, separation, as if she was breaking some moral values from, in the 19th century.
Claro, alguien me dijo una vez, divorcio en el siglo XXI, ya ¿qué es un divorcio? Nada. Y yo le dije, vení al campo a ver lo que es.
So someone said to her, divorce, in 21st century, what, no big deal. And she said, well, come to the French countryside and tell me that.
And also, I guess, connected to the French countryside is this, it's what gives the book perhaps the very sort of natural feel. There's an obsession with nature and animals and animal instincts in the protagonist as well.
Que por ahí él dice sí hay una relación entre este French countryside y lo del paisaje, lo de la presencia animalística de los
Sí,
sentidos.
bueno, en español.
Sí, en el francés no, porque me mata.
Bueno. No, igual hay gente que habla español. En hebreo no. No, por supuesto. No, siempre digo que no tengo cabeza, no sé cómo será tener cabeza de novelista, pero que tengo más cabeza de dramaturga, es decir, que se me configura las imágenes o el texto de una manera teatral.
So again, coming back to her consciousness of a writer, she doesn't feel or think herself as a writer, but more of a playwright.
Y en ese sentido, lo que hace buscar lo que es una imagen generadora en el teatro es eso, encontrar un paisaje interno que depare toda la obra. En este caso fue la aparición de un ciervo que está como leitmotiv en la obra y que como condensó todo lo que iba a ser la obra después.
So for her as a playwright, what triggers the narrative, the prose, it's an image, like the vision of an image. And for Die My Love, that was the kind of the image of a deer. So that's what triggers the prose itself, the narration.
Y creo también que el malentendido en el que está sumida el personaje, el no ser entendida, empezó siendo lingüístico, es decir, concretamente no hablaba como los demás no le entendían y después terminó siendo una incomprensión filosófica, ¿no? Pero parte de un equívoco lingüístico.
De la protagonista. Sí. So the being misunderstood that the protagonist is embedded in started with being a linguistic one, but then it became other dimensions of that being misunderstood that became emotional and sexual, like you said at the beginning, como había dicho, ¿no?
So you said that the book came from one particular image, or one particular this image of the deer. After that, was there a sense of plotting, of sort of devising a story, or did you just let it flow in the sort of in a natural way, and were you surprised by where the story finished?
Dice, volviendo a que la imagen partió de esa imagen, pero después encontraste como un argumento, como una manera de escribir, o te sorprendió la misma escritura en sí.
No sé, ahora lo pienso como una película, porque también tiene muchos elementos cinematográficos, una película de terror que vas abriendo una puerta que te lleva a la otra, como una casa deshabitada terrorífica, porque la maternidad también me parece, y la escritura tiene algo de borden entre la locura y el terror.
So she thinks about it now as a horror movie where the protagonist goes through an alley opening doors, and where that door leads to something else, and she thinks of writing like that, but also motherhood can be that journey and discovery.
O sea que creo que es un intermedio, ni había un plan, un argumento, ni era el puro caos, era como ir siguiendo esas pistas que daba esa casa, ese decorado, esa casa de Die My Love, ¿no?
So it was neither having a plot and a process planned in ahead, nor was it complete chaos, that it was just that journey of opening doors and of this set, like it was like a theater or film set.
Supongo que es como, no sé, no soy música, pero cómo trabaja un músico cuando ya tiene una partitura y luego es seguir esa melodía, pero la música ya está, ¿no?
So for her, she's not a musician, but she imagines it's like when that first melody comes to the composer's mind, it's exploring that and following to see where that first melody goes to.
And the music of the text, as you said, I mean, unfortunately I could only read it in English, but it does strike us as a very musical text. There's something, something almost sort of sort of unnaturally compelling about it. It carries you along in the way that perhaps a song does. And I'd just be interested to talk about that sort of the transition. You said you collaborated quite closely on the translation, and so I'd just like you to talk a little bit, Ariana, about why the music of the text is such a crucial part to your work.
¿Entendiste? Sí, porque la música es tan importante.
Sí.
¿Y cómo se transfiere eso en la traducción, por ejemplo? ¿Cómo colaboraste vos para encontrar ese mundo?
Claro. Bueno, pienso que para el escritor las revelaciones del lenguaje deben ser como para los primeros cristianos, los apóstoles, ¿no? Son revelaciones que como casi religiosas para un místico, ¿no?
So for her, the revelations of language seem to her like they could be almost religious, like apparitions of the apostles that just happen, as it were.
Así que me gusta una frase que no sé de quién es, pero que dice que cada palabra es una obra, y así lo pensaba yo, ¿no? Iba construyendo las palabras como una obra, ¿no?
So she likes the phrase that she doesn't know who said, that each word it's like a work of art in itself, and she thought of each word like that.
Y me gusta eso que siempre dicen que Conrad escribía en un inglés apolacado, ¿no? En un inglés vertido como sedimento del polaco, ¿no? En un inglés apolacado, ¿no?
¿Cómo digo apolacado? And she liked this idea that Joseph Conrad wrote in an English Polish-sized. No, with tinges of Polishness.
Me gusta, obviamente, esa experiencia fronteriza, esa experiencia límite de limbo entre las lenguas. Primero porque la vivo, estoy en Shakespeare & Co. hablando, esto que está pasando ahora, pero me parece que la escritura tiene que ser eso, ¿no? Yo pensaba en francés y escribía en un español que no es el de Argentina de hoy, ¿no?
So she likes this idea of being or writing in this kind of limbo place, in a limbo between languages, no, entre lenguas, where she was here writing and living and thinking in French, but yet what she wrote was in Spanish, and a Spanish that is not longer really spoken in Argentina.
Y eso respecto a la lengua. Y respecto a la música, no sé por qué, de dónde me vino, pero empecé a escuchar piezas de piano, pero no sé, no soy música, pero tocada en acelerato, no sé cómo se dice, como acelerada, como falseando las notas más rápido.
Mientras escribías.
Sí.
So while going back to the question of the music, while she was writing, Ariana was listening to más que nada Glenn Gould, ¿no? O
sí, pero otros también sí, pero
piano siempre.
Sí.
So musicians playing the piano, but in speed it up, so not other normal tempo, but speed it up tempo.
Claro, cuanto más destrozaba, comillas, la obra original, para mí mejor era, es decir, cuando más aceleraba.
The more she destroyed that original composition with the speeding up, the better it became for her while writing.
Sí, como una suerte, no sé si de expresionismo en el piano, y eso me daba
expressionism in the piano.
Y eso me daba el ritmo de mi prosa, ¿no?
And that's where she got or acquired the rhythm for her prose from.
Pero
en la traducción, difícil, pero
no, respecto de la traducción me siento honorifique, no, me siento honrada porque, o sea, creo que se dio un cóctel interesante. Carolina vive hace 20 años en Edimburgo, en Reino Unido, pero es argentina, y entonces su inglés obviamente no es nativo y ya está afectado, adulterado, ¿no?
So she found this collaboration that we had, kind of like an interesting cocktail for what Dai My Love or Mátate Amor in Spanish was about, because obviously don't speak a Spanish that like Ariana, that people speak nowadays. I mean, I do, but the slang we have or the idioms that we make up because we don't remember the actual idiom are very peculiar and are very similar. So, and of course my English is not perfect either, so that combination.
Yo celebro que no sea perfecto, me parece que
sí, she celebrates that it's not perfect.
No, y tuvimos muchos problemas o muchos desafíos semánticos de todo tipo, gramaticales, lingüísticos, bueno, lo sabe más un traductor, pero es decir, porque había palabras y expresiones, o sea, yo escribo en un español ya en desuso, y el español que ella recuerda también ya es en desuso, ¿no? Ya ninguno es el original, si hay un original, ¿no?
Yeah, so that was one of the most interesting parts of the translation, that this, as we were saying at the beginning, this humor or these colloquialisms that Ariana uses in the original and that I can perfectly understand because I'm as obsolete as she is in her Spanish, was very hard to replicate, to capture in English and with the punctuation as well.
Claro, volviendo a lo que decía de los pianistas que falsean el original o que interpretan a Bach distinto, me gustaba esta idea de una colaboración juntas a atacar el lenguaje, ¿no?
So she, again, coming back to this distortion of the musicians altering the tempo, that she liked this idea of trying to do the same with the language, trying to alter that to achieve something different.
Because I have the feeling, I might be wrong, but I feel there's a different natural tempo to English and Spanish. At least the way Spanish feels, at least to my untrained ears, a much faster language, and it's much faster. But I don't know if that's something, as somebody who speaks both, is that something you feel as well?
Very much so, but I am left in a limbo in a way, because I keep thinking of this example that we had when the novel was translated and finished and revised. Ariana and also Scott, who's here present, who's also a translator and writer, kept coming back to me about the final sentences and the pauses in the sentences, and it was a matter of commas, two commas. And the translator, so the co-translator Sarah, kept saying to me, well, she's an English speaker, and she would say, well, we don't have so many commas in English, so you can't put the commas there. And then I would say, well, no, you have to have the commas there, because it's where you breathe to go into
Casi nos vamos a las manos.
Sí, we almost fell into, into virtual fights. And that was just the last sentence, which is crucial, like the beginning, not the initial sentence. So I think that summarized the whole translation process and what you were saying about the difference in the tempos, in the musicality, in the rhythms. It was exhausting but fascinating.
Sí, y me parece que la traducción es un acto amoroso, es decir, primero como la relación como de un acto amoroso con el texto, ¿no? Pero
the translation's an act of love, Ariana saying,
pero
the text.
Pero como digno de una utopía, ¿no? De un idealista, porque es decir, siempre vas a perder, ¿no?
It's a bit utopic in a way, because you're always going to lose something.
Y a veces yo privilegio.
Pero también ganar, ¿no?
Sí, y ganar.
Y
yo elegía siempre algunas palabras, no tanto por el sentido, que eso lo hacen otros escritores también, obviamente, sino por la sonoridad. No me importaba tanto, sacrificaba el sentido, y hay que ver si el traductor elige sacrificar lo mismo que eligió sacrificar el autor, ¿no?
Sí, so sometimes Ariana would choose a word in Spanish not because of its meaning, but because of just how it sounded. And when it comes to the translation, of course, you have to choose whether the eternal question, to keep the meaning or to be faithful to the sonority or the music of it.
And did you have a leaning one way or the other, or will you keep the secret?
I think I'll let the readers read and decide.
On the subject of letting the readers decide, I noticed the time is getting quite close to our hour, so it might be a good moment to open to questions from the audience. If there is anybody who has a question for Ariana in English or in Spanish or even in French. The gentleman.
Italian.
I don't speak English. My English is very poor, and then I want to make a question in French or in Spanish about the translation. Acerca de la traducción.
Sí.
Entonces,
el español argentino de hace 10 años.
Así es.
O 20, sí. Como quiera.
A mí me ha interesado mucho lo que estaban diciendo sobre la traducción, porque yo creo que me parece que tú has afrontado muchos desafíos al mismo tiempo, no solamente el lingüístico, no solamente el semántico, sino también un modo de traducir las imágenes de la que ella abunda en sus 3 novelas. Yo he encontrado un tal desborde de imágenes, porque me sugiere a veces, cuando lo he leído y releído, me sugiere estar viendo una película. Entonces, ahí viene la pregunta. Para un traductor, ese desafío de las imágenes, ¿cómo lo has afrontado? ¿Cómo has podido afrontarlo? Gracias.
Yes, I'll remember. So the question goes along the lines of, within the challenges of translating, the linguistic challenges and the semantic challenges. What's your name? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? Luis. Luis is also asking what about the images, because as Ariana was saying, she has a cinematographic background, and the images abound in Ariana's prose. So the question is that I should remember to try and reply. How did we deal with that in the translation? Good question. I have to say that wasn't the hardest challenge. Pero respondo en castellano.
Podés hablar yo lo entiendo.
Bueno. Sí, that wasn't the hardest challenge. The trying to maybe because her images are more, they're not exclusively linked to an era or a way of speaking. They're more ethereal, if you want, or images that you can relate to, I don't know, David Lynch, or to different aesthetics. So I think that wasn't, I mean, it was a challenge, but it wasn't so hard to convey in the English as well. Yes.
Contale que hasta la mitad se tradujo, hubo que volver a empezar.
Sí, eso lo dije al principio, sí.
Sí, no, que una anécdota que no me acuerdo quién decía, es que le mandó un poema a la traductora del alemán que se llamaba Aquí todavía todo está flotando.
So this is an anecdote Ariana saying about
una poeta en español.
A Spanish-speaking poet that sent a poem called what?
Aquí todavía todo está flotando, un libro que se llamaba así.
Here everything's still floating. Se lo mandó a la traductora del alemán,
y la traductora del alemán le dijo, ¿flota en el agua o flota en el aire? Y ella dijo, yo qué sé.
So the translator went, well, are things floating up in the air or in the water?
Y ahí obviamente ella se enteró que en alemán hay una palabra distinta para lo que es flotar en el aire y flotar en el agua.
So there the writer found out that there's different verbs in German to imply floating
diferentes
up
formas
in the
de
air,
flotar.
Different forms of floating.
Y que la autora decía, me obliga a pensar todo el poema otra vez, ¿no?
So the writer first felt forced to rethink her poetry or her poems all over again. And I think that happened, voy a inventar esto, pero agregar, que that happened a lot when we were translating and going back to Ariana with questions. She was like, well, rethinking the meaning of certain things, repensar el sentido de algunas de las cosas que habías ya escrito, ¿no? Que nos pasa mucho.
No, y me parece que el acto de traducción, o sea, la colaboración entre un autor y un traductor es lo más parecido a la patria potestad, a la gaga alternée de un hijo en un divorcio. Pero quiero explicar eso. Quiero decir eso.
So she thinks that the translator and the relationship between the translator and the writer, or the writer and the translator, it's no sé cómo se dice eso.
It's like un divorcio con hijos.
Transferring the authority when you get divorced, fighting about the authorities. I've forgotten. Custody. Thank you. The custody. I'm tired. The custody of the child.
Porque Die My Love obviamente no es tuya, obviamente no es mío. Bueno, es obviamente un hijo en común que va a haber que
pelearse. So she's saying we're like trying to fight over the custody or the ownership.
Y cuando la traducción es buena, el autor se siente dueño de la traducción, ¿no? Casi.
When the translation is good, the writer can feel that they've written that almost. Yes.
We have another question. ¿Qué es lo que no funcionaba con la primera traducción? ¿Cuáles eran los criterios para decidir dejarlo? Porque ya es muy subjetivo. Imagino que a ti no te funcionaba la manera de lo de la música, lo del sentido, o era lo del custody de los niños.
So what didn't work with that first translation that we had to give up? It was very, very interesting and it was quite a learning experience for me as a translator, but also as the editor of Charco Press, and knowing Ariana's work. Big responsibility. We just felt we were very happy with the translation when it started, and then something changed along the way. Something changed. I couldn't explain it to you word by well. I could bring you the translation that we gave up, but it was something. I think she stopped either understanding it or stopped knowing how to express it, or just got overwhelmed. Or there was, I felt personally speaking, I don't think the translator is here, but I felt there was a point of crisis, como un punto de crisis en la que se perdió ella. Sí.
Maybe.
¿No?
Maybe because the translator is also a reader.
Absolutely, the translator is the best reader, I think, that an author can have.
Entonces es que era demasiado tocada. She was too touched by the story, too emotional about it to be able to translate it.
Perhaps, I don't know. She couldn't say, but she accepted that, that it was a good decision.
So she said, "I can't do it."
No, she did it. She did it, but myself, and the editor, the copy editor. She actually said to me, the copy editor, who's done most of the books, she just said, "We can't save these." Those were her words. It was dramatic. It gives me goosebumps. She said, "We can't save these," and it was like seeing a ship sink. We just had to let it. Literally, I hadn't thought about it till now, but we had built it with Ariana as well. It's so much work and months of work, and we just had to let it sink and start again.
It was very strong of you, because you really, yeah.
Y es muy distinto, obviamente, cuando el autor maneja la lengua que cuando no.
Sí,
si yo tuviera, que de hecho lo pasó, que ver, que leer una versión en francés, una traducción al francés de la novela, al tener noción de la lengua, es mucho más la conciencia, ¿no?
So it's very different as well, the process, when the writer can understand the language that the book's being translated into or to, than when they're not. No.
Por eso Matate Amor, Die My Love continúa siendo una extranjera en Francia, a pesar de que nació de las entrañas de la lengua francesa de algún modo, porque las pocas veces que me ofrecieron traducirla, la traducción traicionaba el original.
En francés.
Sí, lo aburguesaba.
So there's no French translation of Matate Amor or Die My Love yet, because the attempts that had been carried out were betrayals of the original. Not. Que eran
¿En French?
Sí, en francés.
Traicionaba la ideología.
It betrayed the ideology behind.
Sí, la música.
Estás diciendo que el francés no es la buena lengua para traducir.
No,
de la traducción en general.
Sí, es posible. También esa es otra pregunta que deberían pensar los traductores. ¿Qué lengua conviene más a qué verso, a qué poeta? ¿Y por qué? ¿Y en qué sentido se aproxima o se aleja de...? Bueno, pero en este caso las opciones que a mí me daban no eran Matate Amor. Ni siquiera una buena versión, ¿no?
The French versions that have got to Ariana have never been, podemos decir, fieles, have never transmitted the original faithfully like that. But the ideology of it, ¿no? Interesante.
Sí, y siempre me gusta esa anécdota recontra obvia, pero bueno, acá quizás no es tan obvia, de Borges, que leyó a los 11 años El Quijote en inglés y le encantó, o a los 9 años creo que era, y le encantó
So Ariana always likes that anecdote whereby apparently Borges read the Quijote or Don Quixote in English, age 9 and 10, and he was first.
Sí, lo leyó en inglés y
and he was fascinated by
it. Después, unos años después, lee a Cervantes en español y le gustó mucho menos.
And when he then went to the original, read it in. When he then read the original Cervantes Don Quixote, he just thought it was a bad translation of the original. Sí, está buenísimo.
Which is, I think, we're gonna have to leave it there. We are out of time, but please do stick around. We will be serving wine afterwards, so please do come and continue the conversation with Ariana, with Carolina, in English, in Spanish, or in French, any language you choose, or even a little Hebrew. I think so you've really got your choice. Otherwise, we have plenty of copies of Die My Love, which I'm sure Ariana will sign for you. We also have copies of the other Chaco titles, both here and at the till. Otherwise, please just join me in saying thank you so much to Ariana and to Carolina.